my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. Now, today, I just wanted to talk about some of my favorite planty things this winter season. To be honest, I have been struggling a little bit with just seasonal depression, and it's really hard when it's not sunny or it's just really cold and I'm not getting time outside. So honestly, being transparent with you, I've had a rough month, but you know, I'm trying to make the most of it, and these last few days I've been trying to be intentional to like get out and go do things whether or not I actually feel like it, because I found that I have a harder time feeling like doing things when it's so dark and cold, because I don't want to like get out of my PJs even, but then it becomes just a negative feedback loop and I continue to be sad and not happy or excited about anything, which is kind of sad. But you know, I'm trying to make the most of it. But I figured today I'm in a little bit of a better mood because I did decide to go out and about, so I have a little bit more energy, and I figured I would talk about something that makes me happy, which winter favorites, man. Like, what planty things are just putting a little smile on my face, sparking joy, if you will. Most of these plants are plants that happen to be doing really well this winter. Oftentimes winter can be super rough on plants, but these happen to be plants that are still growing and thriving for me and take some of the stress off my plate and remind me how much I love plants in general. So these are plant things, plant products, of course, you kind of know the drill. So yes. First up, I wanted to talk about my philodendron mamei. Now, this is, I think, definitely the most commercially rare plant that I have in my collection. It's certainly just the most expensive one. She is absolutely gorgeous. Let's see, I think, yeah, she could definitely use a water. Like, it's about the time that I would start watering her. You can see this particular leaf is drooping a little bit. It's also the oldest leaf, I think, so that just makes sense. Yeah, I can tell the pot is lighter and generally it just seems like it wants a drink. But I didn't want to water it and then have water dripping all over me while I film a video, because I've made that mistake before and it's not fun. So this mamei put out this beautiful leaf most recently, and I'm just so in awe of it. And then right here, she's gonna be a big mama again to another leaf. I don't know if that makes sense because the plant is comprised of leaves, so it's not like each leaf is a child. I'm overthinking what I just said, but you get the idea. So this will be the second leaf that she has given me since I got her. So she is a little bit more of a slower grower, but that also makes sense because it's the winter time. So, you know, I don't know if that's the case all the time, but that would mean maybe like one leaf every month and a half roughly, which is a little bit slow, but not. There are plants that are slower than that. I'm very, very happy with this plant overall. Just absolutely beautiful. She hasn't really given me any problems, which is a relief because I was a little bit intimidated when I paid a pretty penny for this plant. So I'm glad that she's doing well and is not horribly unhappy with me, because that would be a little bit tragic, but we don't have to deal with those complicated emotions. She's all happy. The next plant that I wanted to talk about is my begonia maculata wightii. I feel like I've been talking a lot about her recently. I featured her in another video recently, so that's probably why. But she is absolutely exploding with growth this winter, which I did not at all expect of a begonia. I thought that all of my begonias, which I only have 2 begonias, but for some reason I was thinking that they would go more dormant during the winter season, but they both are exposed to grow lights and a humidifier, so they're in pretty good conditions. But so first she put out this leaf, and then this beautiful little leaf, and then now she's got this leaf and this leaf and, oh, I think this might be another separate leaf as well. Yeah, she's just got loads and loads of leaves that just keep coming out of nowhere. So I'm very surprised. So right now she doesn't have any support or anything like that, but honestly, I might stick a little bamboo stake in there to stabilize her because she is starting to get a little bit wobbly, as you can see. I'm less experienced with begonias, so I don't have as much of an eye for their growth points and such, but you know. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I have like any specific plans for this plant. I could see myself, you know, you could propagate begonias a lot of different ways, like from practically any part of the plant, almost, I think. So, you know, in theory, I could chop it here and then propagate it just to like make it more full and balanced through the rest of the plant, but I don't know, I'm just letting her grow for now and I'll figure out the rest later. But I just figured I'd share because she's absolutely beautiful. And look at the backs of the leaves. Oh, red backs are one of my favorites. So yes. All right, next I wanted to share my Hoya carnosa crimson queen because, oh, I think I got this plant maybe 6 months ago. It was sometime over the summer, I believe. So somewhere in that time. And I think this was actually my first ever Hoya because at that time I was mostly more into pothos and philodendron and monstera and stuff like that, succulents. But this was my first venture into owning a Hoya, and she did nothing for me for those 6 months. And I'd say about 2 months ago, I put her in this south-facing window right here along with 2 other Hoya because I figured maybe they would like it. I was not expecting her to grow for like at least another year because I've heard that Hoyas take a while to acclimate and figure themselves out before they start growing for you. But excuse me, she suddenly exploded with growth. She's got 2 new leaves coming in right there, and look at that color. Whoa! Like, I know that crimson princesses do that, hence the name. They can get sun stressed and stuff like that, but this Hoya, you know, had maybe like a tiny little bit of blush of pink when I got her, and now she has like a full-on crimson leaf. And then the one to the left of it as well is pretty dark as well. It must not have like that layer of creamy white in it. Like, it must be technically more green with the red sunstress. I'm not fully familiar with how Hoya work or all the terminology of it, but that sounds about right to me. So this has that red hue to it, but has more of a green undertone, whereas the one on the right comes across as more pinkish red because of the white in the back, if that makes sense. So those 2 leaves are awesome. And then she is throwing, if I can get her focus. She's throwing hands, as they say. So she's got more growth coming. And then over here too, there's more growth coming, throwing hands there. So she's got a lot happening. I'm very excited about all of that. She does need to be watered. So I wanted to just show you, like, give you guys an idea. Like, see how just the leaves are very soft and pliable. Like, they don't, you have to be really careful because when I first got her, I tried this and snapped the leaf. So you have to be very careful, especially if you're not sure whether or not she needs to be watered. But like, a lot of the leaves will become very pliable like that. They just get more soft and limp, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna give her a water after this video. But yeah, I just figured I'd show you that. That's how I know when she needs to be watered, because generally Hoya are pretty drought tolerant. So, but you don't want to let them go too long without water, because then they're not going to grow for you, and then they'll get unhappy eventually. So yeah. All right, so next I did want to talk about my syngonium albo, which she was like the biggest purchase. Like, I think she was like the first more expensive plant that I purchased back over, in September, I think, because, you know, I just wasn't willing to get into the rare plant territory for a long time, but I finally ventured into it. And nowadays, you know, syngonium albos are considered to be a little bit less rare. Like they're easier to come by at this point. It can still be pretty pricey depending on where you are, but there are some places where they're really not pricey at all. It just really depends. Ow, no. My cat almost knocked my camera down. But this one at the time, it was still around that like $50 mark, so it was at the time by far the most expensive plant that I purchased. And even now, like it's still definitely up there in terms of price. Like the mamei is the most expensive at this point, but it's still kind of a pretty penny depending on your perspective and your income and whatever. I mean, that $50 is a lot of money. I know, relatively speaking, there are far more expensive plants, but in general, that's pretty expensive. So it just depends on whether or not it's worth it to you. But I absolutely love this plant. I can't wait for her to get big and bushy, and maybe I'll put her on a moss pole or something. But recently she has put out like 2 leaves in like the last maybe 3 weeks, because there are technically 2 different plants in here. This is one of the leaves. It's very white, as you can see. And then this is another one of the leaves. It's more of a half moon. So very, very excited about this plant. My cats did take a nibble on it like last week when I was sick. I've noticed that they tend to just like bite my plants when I'm not able to give them as much attention, and I don't know if that's because they're taking it out on the plants and like trying to get back at me, or if they're just bored, or what the deal is. They don't actually eat them, they just will puncture them with their little teeth. So I don't know if you can see, they're just bite marks. They're just like, there. I mess with your plants. I know you love it more than you love me. It's not true. I love my cats and my plants equally, but sometimes I feel like they get jealous or something. I don't know, maybe I'm just reading into it. But yeah, so that really made me kind of upset, but you know, I let it go. They're just cats, they're just plants, and it will grow new leaves, so it's okay. All right, next, really quickly, I wanted to talk about my philodendron dark lord cutting. There's some other cuttings in here just for funsies, but oh my goodness, I was so worried about this plant because she didn't root for the longest time, but now, here, I'm gonna take out the other plants so you can see better, but now she's got this new leaf right here, and a lot of beautiful, beautiful roots, and a whole nother auxiliary bud is also activating. So I'm just over the moon excited about this. She'll be ready to pot up kind of soon. I'm gonna let her root quite a bit more, or him. I guess, yeah, Dark Lord, it's a he, right? It's okay. But yeah, absolutely love this plant. Love that he's growing for me, finally, and seems to be thriving now. In the winter, oddly enough, even though I got him back in October, I think. So, I don't know, but I'm happy. Okay, and then next I wanted to move into more of the plant-related products. So yeah, first up, I got 3 pots. So there's this one right here. I just want to give you a good look. There's this one, and then there's this one, and this one. They are absolutely beautiful. They look so like natural and earthy, and they are from Ivy, Maine shop or pottery or something like that, I believe. But yeah, they are so stunning. They're like the exact style of pot that I really enjoy. They've got drainage holes and everything, and this one in particular also has like little like furniture sliders on it so that it's more gentle. But yeah, it looks very like, oh my gosh, my cats are going absolutely insane right now. It looks very like almost rough around the edges, but the colors are so beautiful. The clay that's used is so nice and smooth. So yeah, I'm absolutely in love with these pots. Obviously, I haven't put any plants in them yet. I've got quite a few plants that are propagating right now that I'm gonna need to put in a pot. So like I might put like my Monstera silvipicana in this one, and I've got some like baby silver sword philodendrons that are gonna need to be potted up soon into just something bigger. So I might put both of them in here with like a little moss pole. I'm not sure if there's gonna be enough space for that in this pot size, but I don't know. I'm just very excited to put plants in these pots, and I just wanted to share just to support a small business. They are a little bit on the pricier side, but honestly I see it as an investment because I'm probably going to use these pots as long as I have plants, which hopefully is my entire life, unless they break, but hopefully that never happens. So yeah, I really love these, and I would love to focus more on like pots and like the decorative aspect of plants, as well as taking care of plants, because I want my space to be relaxing and beautiful. So yeah, pots are a really big part of that. So yeah, would highly recommend. Okay, and finally, I did want to talk about my humidifier. I currently have 2 humidifiers, but there's one in particular that's a bit more fancy, and it is the elechomes humidifier. So I'll link it down below, or I might already have it linked down below. But anyways, so it is definitely more of a pricey humidifier, and I got it this past fall in anticipation of winter, and you know, I had a few more plants that are a bit more sensitive to humidity, so I decided to invest in it. I think I got it on sale for like $80 or $90 or something like that, but it might be normally around closer to the $100 mark. But I will say, I mean, it definitely has its quirks and it's finicky, and I'm gonna have to enter in some B-roll footage because I am not gonna haul that thing all the way down here to show you right here. But you know, it has its quirks, and sometimes it'll like overheat and you just have to like reset it and figure it out. But honestly, as far as getting the job done, okay, my cats, they need to chill out. As far as getting the job done, it just does such a great job in keeping my room really nice and humid. And it has options for like both cool and warm mist if that's something that's important to you. It also is like a top fill humidifier, and it has like a really big tank. The humidifier that I have on my piano, I have to refill like 2 or 3 times a day, like if I have it on the highest setting, which is such a pain. And it's also a bottom fill too. It's just, but my elechomes humidifier is so nice because I only have to refill it like maybe once a day if it's like a really dry day, but usually it's like only once every 2 or 3 days. So that is awesome. And if you're a lazy plant parent, or you just don't have the time or energy like me, it's, you know, it's worth looking into a decent larger humidifier. Now I know that there are other humidifiers out there that are also great, but this is just the humidifier that I have experience with. So yeah, in general, if you're looking to invest in a really good humidifier, I've had a good experience with elechomes so far. Now it has only been a few months, so I can't speak for its longevity per se, and also this isn't sponsored or anything. They would never sponsor me. But yeah, overall, I've just had a good experience so far. So that's definitely a winter favorite of mine because it is kind of a necessity for me, at least in the winter. Some people don't jive with humidifiers and stuff, and that's fine if you don't want to, but I want to. And honestly, I even find it beneficial for myself and my own skin, my own like throat and all that. So yeah. Well, I think that is going to be it for this video. So if you liked this video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, any of that stuff. They're all a huge help to me. And also, I do have an Instagram, and it's just the same name, sproutswithjoy. So yeah, I mean, if you want to check me out there, that would be great. I post lots of plant-related content there as well. I'm gonna be trying out reels soon, maybe. They kind of intimidate me, but we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I often will post polls and interact with you guys. So yeah, it's all kind of just part of building this little planty community here. So yeah, I hope that you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye.